All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Beat the Cult podcast, where we fight cult like religious thinking and practices. I am Nikki. Welcome back. We're having our first live episode in quite some time. And today I am super lucky to be joined by Oz. Hi, Oz. Can you hear me?
One second. My bad. I'm a terrible, terrible guest. This is why I get nervous before I go on other people's streams. I had
No
YouTube
big
pulled up
deal.
and it just started playing. I was like, which voice is the real voice? Hello, everybody. My name is
Hi.
Oz. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you. No worries. I still get nervous as well. This is just my seventh episode, so I'm still warming up and just getting into it. But I appreciate you being one of the guinea pigs in my first, I guess, 10 episodes.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. So I actually met you through your girlfriend, Jenna. And Jenna is extremely awesome. I followed her kind of back in the day when I first got into the atheist environment as Skeptic Nikki. And then I just recently got the opportunity to kind of start talking to her. And she and you have been doing some pretty incredible things in the atheist space.
We try. We try.
I'm just really like, I just, it's a dream to be able to do this type of thing with a partner. And it's first of all with, and I will, because Jenna is a sister. I just have to bring that up because I am a sister, and it's very like weird to meet another Black atheist. So I think that's why we hit it off so soon. But I
Absolutely.
know, like it, I know for especially African Americans, where a lot of us are raised in religious homes. Were you also raised in a religious home before becoming an atheist, or what was your
Absolutely.
background? Oh,
Absolutely.
really?
Yeah, I
So
grew up. I grew up in a we the crazy type of Christians, the hanging off chandeliers and slinging oil and speaking in tongues, and
oh,
so very
yeah.
charismatic, evangelical, speak,
Yes.
all that mess.
That's how my mom actually describes her Christianity. She says, "We are charismatic evangelical Christians," specifically. So
Got to get it to a
I'm
T, man.
aware to a T. Because if you're just an evangelical Christian, you don't quite qualify. You got to introduce that charismatic, make it extra crazy.
You're not a true Christian unless it's charismatic, evangelical.
She
It's
would
clear.
agree with you. Exactly. So were you like in the South or something? Because that's usually where like evangelicals frequent.
I am what I call the Bible Belt 2.0, and
Oh.
that's the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
Mike Pence country. So
Oh, that's right. Oh my goodness. That's true. I didn't even think about that.
yeah, it's Fort Wayne here where I live and where we hold the Better Conference, which I know we'll talk about later.
Oh, yeah.
It's called it's nicknamed well by the community. It's nicknamed the City of Churches, and then
Really?
by pastors here, it's called the Church Planters Graveyard because there are so many damn churches. Like, so I live downtown. We're on the 7th floor, and you can look out and see church. Like
Really?
it's nuts. Yeah.
Is there like a predominant denomination in Indiana? Or are they all just fighting for power?
It's for the most part you're and the true charismatic evangelicals hate this, but it's that that hybrid of the evangelical charismatic slash non-denominational because we don't want to scare people. We
Exactly.
don't want to scare people. We only
Yeah.
speak in tongues during prayer time before everybody shows up. That kind.
You're right.
It's a blend of that.
Okay. So you were raised in Indiana. Were your parents so okay, how did because this is a pretty ridiculous brand of Christianity. It's very, I guess, like a virus kind of.
Mhm.
How did you heal yourself? How did you get rid of that?
Uh, Long story short, I, first I have to say I've always been the one that's had the question marks, right, and tried really hard to believe for most of my life,
Yeah.
and now the longer I'm away, and I look back, I was like, I maybe these Christians are right. Maybe I was never saved.
Mm.
Maybe I was never a true Christian, and I know the atheists like, no, don't say that because now looking back, I feel like a lot of the time I was just going through the motions and playing along, you know,
Right.
because it was play along to get along, keep the
Right.
peace, you know.
Right.
And so anyway, that being said, I did a lot of reading, a lot of studying. I took what, 3 or 4 really New Testament focused, but 3 or 4 Bible classes. Uh,
Mm,
I can say I actually read the book. Like I was well read,
good.
and it, I say that, but then to answer your question, at the time I was the full-time drummer. I was
Oh, dope.
overseeing all of the small groups. My ex-wife and I oversaw all the small groups. We
Oh,
were
at the church?
yeah, yep.
Oh,
Um,
so you were involved.
oh yeah, but it was essentially full-time but not paid. um,
That sounds like the church, unless you're
uh, yeah,
Kenneth Copeland or Creflo Dollar.
absolutely, absolutely. And then I also helped with the youth group. And then anytime there was any urban or inner city ministries, I was the one that typically spoke, or a couple
Mhm.
times I did like spoken word or freestyle or whatever, you know. So anytime we were doing that, you know, I was very involved in that. And there happened to be a Sunday. The reason I share all that, there happened to be a Sunday where I had zero responsibilities, and I was like, first of all, I didn't know what to do with myself because I'm like, why am I not playing drums? Why am I not having meetings? What you know this and the service started and they started playing music. Now I'm a drummer, so all I'm really focused on each Sunday and even at rehearsals is the twos and the fours, the builds. When do I crash? When do I soften up? When do I go hard? You
Mm,
know, all of that, and not really paying attention so much to what we're saying.
right.
And the first two, like you know, upbeat you know your major chord driven songs, like no problem. But once it got to the take it down to the worship, and we hit the minor
Mm.
chords and all of these weird. Can I say the F word?
You can say fuck as much as you
Okay,
fucking want.
I want to be respectful on other people's choices.
No, you're good.
Um, I was like, "What the fuck are we saying right now?" Like we're talking about like making love to Jesus is essentially
Wait,
like
wait, wait,
yeah, man,
what?
wet kisses and daddy.
Wait, what?
Like, oh
Are
yeah,
these lyrics? What kind of
yeah.
I don't remember
I
that.
would have to go find the worship band.
Daddy.
Oh yeah, that was I can't remember who started, but uh, Daddy God instead of Father God. It was Daddy. It got weird. Um, but more
Is
so,
this one of those BDSM clubs masquerading as a church?
uh, you never know.
Daddy Jesus? Oh,
You never know.
that's a
But
little kinky. Was it Jim
yeah,
Caviezel Jesus? He was kind of hot.
oh, his little commercial on YouTube kills me because even like he smirks when he was like, "I played Jesus on the Passion of Christ," and he gets this
He's
weird smirk on his face.
yeah. Jim Caviezel, yeah. He's a little bit weird, but
But yeah, it was so that we got, or as we were going through the music, I'm listening. And yes, they're weird, but the other thing that caught me was none of this is in the Bible.
no, Daddy Jesus is not in the Bible.
Yeah, that like wet kisses, like all like that one's the one that stands out to me. Like that's not in what are we talking about right now? Like none of
Wet
this shit in the Bible.
kisses, Daddy
Wet,
Jesus?
yes, wet kisses. That was 2 separate songs, but yes, those words were in the music. Um,
Sorry.
no,
This is a
no, it
lot
is.
of shit.
It's hysterical. I look
Wet
back
Jesus? Wait.
at
Wet
wet Jesus.
kisses Daddy Jesus? Oh my God. Wet kisses Daddy Jesus. I'm gonna make that one of my passwords now. That's hilarious.
Jesus, give me wet kisses.
Oh,
But yeah, so that hit me. So I'm already like, what? Not because my brother's the pastor. I forgot to mention that he
did you
passed.
ask him why he chose those songs?
Well, and that was already in my head, right? I was like, okay, we need to talk, bro.
Right.
We're and shame on me for being the drummer and not paying closer attention. But Jen will tell you, I don't multitask. If I have one task, I'm ADHD as fuck.
I'm the same way. I
If I have one
can't.
task, that's it. And my
Yeah.
task was don't ask me to sing. Don't ask me to pay attention to anything else but keeping the beat.
Daddy
But
Jesus.
in that particular Sunday, when my brother gave his message, this is this was the best way I can like picture trying to paint a picture or give it an analogy is like in your car if you get like one little chink or whatever in the tink in the windshield and like
Yes.
it doesn't
You gotta
spider
call
web,
safe
it's just
flight.
that little dot, right?
Yeah.
but it's right in front of your eyeball.
Yeah,
So
it's
it
horrible.
never goes away, and it's like, "Oh, I wish it would go away. I wish it
Right.
would go away." This would be this particular Sunday morning, that would be this for me, where it was that tink, and I'm like, "God damn it." Because he shared, t 2, I think it was 2 or 3, 2 for sure, but scriptures where it was like, "Well, hold on, if God is this, how can he also be this?" And I'd never, because I lived in this bubble, in this world of indoctrination, it never even, those connectors never connected, right?
Mm,
And all of a sudden, I'm like, and the light bulb went off, and I vividly remember saying to myself, "You've never read this book by yourself, like
mm,
without the lenses of a teacher, a pastor, mom, youth pastor,
mm.
whatever it was." Because my mom was a praise and worship pastor for 20 plus years.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was drilled, into my brother and I's, brains. And when I left that Sunday, my ex-wife and I had drove separately. I stopped on the way home and bought a brand new Bible
Oh,
because I wanted to
interesting.
read without all of my notes,
Yeah.
without all the highlights, without all of that. And as the story goes, I barely got through Genesis, and I was like, I got questions.
Yeah.
I got a lot
Without
of questions.
answers. Yeah.
And, um, and then the rest is history. From there, it was deconstructing everything. And the more I read, and then I wasn't operating within confirmation bias, that I was actually going to secular sources instead of just the charismatic evangelical authors or speakers or whatever. I'm like, oh man, there's yeah, there's a lot I've not been told. And
Right.
then eventually it all collapsed.
So when you were reading the Bible, what was the first thing that stood out to you that made you say, like, really realize this is bullshit?
Talking snakes.
That'll do it. But your brain didn't tell you, well, clearly this is an allegory and God is just, or I mean, still real, but this isn't real.
Well, it whether it was my brain, the indoctrination, the programming, whatever you want to call it, it tried, man.
Yeah.
Because that's Jen and I talk about this all the time. Anybody that's a former believer, like for 30 plus years, I believed, at least I thought I believed, and even that I don't even know anymore. But I certainly tried to
Right.
believe, and did the study, did the homework. I wish it was real.
I do too. Oh my God, I told my uncle that. My uncle's a megachurch pastor for Creflo, and I told him I wish it was real because this is what I was told my whole entire life.
Amen.
I was indoctrinated in it, and my family rejects parts of me based on it. They've been their behavior is dictated by it, and I wish it was real because at least it would justify it. But now I mean, there's just no evidence that it is, and it's kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is. Which, well, if you don't mind, I'll give you why. One of the big reasons why I say it, and I say it now,
Sorry.
I say it publicly now more than ever, uh, because of this. So, for those that know me, you know this, but if you don't, I lost my mom 2 Julys ago,
Oh
via
no.
suicide, and she
My
had
goodness.
as I do, she had a rap sheet of mental health, mental illness diagnosis, uh, and then she also
Relatable.
had a lot of physical ailments. The worst of it being Meniere's disease, and if anyone's never heard of that, it's a very very rare disease. I think it's like 1 or 2% of the population have had it or will have it. And what it is, it's a liquid, like a liquid buildup behind your eardrum, and it essentially paralyzes you. What I mean by paralyzes is you can't walk, you can't stand because your equilibrium just gets fucked, right? And
Right. The
vertigo,
vestibular system is regulated by the inner
yeah,
ear.
and vertigo, from what my how my mom described. Obviously, I've never experienced it myself, but the way she described it, vertigo isn't even the right word for to try to describe it. But the reason I share that is when so she overdosed on insulin, and then what was it, babe? Insulin and Xanax.
Mhm.
And she was brain dead for close to 2 weeks, and they had her on a ventilator and everything. And I remember, I think it was a night, 2 nights before, us as a family decided, for quality of life and, everything else, it's time. She's not getting better. She's not improving. It's time to, pull the machines and everything. And I remember 2 night, yeah, no, it was the night before. I was sitting on my back patio, and I remember saying, God, if you are out there, it's showtime, motherfucker.
Right.
Because this entire family is doing everything that your book commands them to do. Where two or more are gathered, there you are in the midst. If you ask any of these things, they shall be given to you. Pray without ceasing. Like, they literally had like a 24-hour like prayer chain, and they had like pastors that have like Facebook shows and YouTube shows praying
Mhm.
and doing these prayer like nights or vigils or whatever. And I'm like, it's showtime, bruh. If you're here, if you actually exist, what better moment do you have right now? Not just to save a life. Here I am, the atheist, and I'm asking you, where the hell are you at? And obviously nothing ever nothing ever changed. She ended up passing July 31st, I believe it was, 2 years ago. And now I talk about that more than ever. In that moment, I wanted it to be real.
Sure.
I would have gave anything for it to be real and still have my mom. But guess what? The son of a bitch never showed up.
Right. Have people said, of course, the unthinkable, that it was God's will? He works in mysterious ways. Just because his will doesn't align with yours doesn't mean he didn't hear your prayers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always, his ways are higher than ours, right? And
Right.
um, but the funny thing is, not funny, ironic thing. The ironic thing is, they won't mention the word suicide. They're afraid of that word. They know why, because doctrinally speaking, that means my mom's in hell through
See,
their
that's
lens.
always blown my mind how somebody can be in so much emotional pain or physical pain, as it seems to be both in your mom's case, and God not provide any type of solace or respite. And it becomes so overwhelming that they just can't deal with it. So they end their lives, but God punishes them for not being able to deal with that pain. It's
Right.
like insult to injury, and it's never made sense to me.
And for me, it's two pronged. One, because I also, I have my mom's genes, and so I also, diagnosed bipolar, and seasonal depression, and things, high anxiety, blah blah blah, all the same stuff. My mom had, and it wasn't until I left the church that I realized, oh, there's medicine for this shit.
Mm.
And there's a part of me that I can't lie. I won't lie about this. There's a part of me that's still a little bitter that I spent, 30 plus years of my life unmedicated, undiagnosed, untreated. Why? Faith and prayer.
Mm. Yeah.
You don't have enough faith. You're not praying enough, Oz. You're not believing enough. Or the devil got me.
Yeah. It's a
One
demon.
one of those things. So, I look back at that now, and where could my mom have been if faith, belief, prayer wasn't the answer, but treatment, medication, and all that? What was truly the um, the treatment that she sought, and she did, but it was more of a supplement, right?
Mm.
It was more of a kind of a side thing. But so there's that part of it, as far as the two prongs, and then again, just to um, the belief in prayer and this miracle working God. Where 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 are you at, bro? Like, and how many kids are laying in a hospital tonight
Mhm.
that will die of cancer or what, whatever. And but meanwhile, Susie Christian Go Lucky, she got a parking spot at the front row at Walmart because God loves her. Fuck out of here.
Right. Exactly. Or in my mother's case, God stopped the rain before the softball game, you know,
Oh, yeah.
or something. I mean, of course, that's just one of the more flippant things that she prays for. But I have a question. In that moment when you were like you're an atheist and you're asking God to appear and heal your mother, if she had been healed, would you have stopped being atheist and believed in God?
Uh, Great question, and you're actually only the second person to ask me that. And it's a great question. My answer would be my skepticism would remain. Uh, but I would if she would have recovered because she was brain dead, like I said, for literally 2 weeks.
Mhm.
If she would have got up out of that bed and been like her and not had ill effects from being brain dead for 2 weeks,
Mhm.
I sure would have had to reconsider. I
Yeah.
can't say I would have jumped ship, but I sure would have had to look at the reevaluate the evidence and what did it and ask the doctors all the damn questions. You know,
Sure.
but I can't say I would have jumped ship, but I sure would have had to take another very hard look.
That sounds like your path to atheism was actually paved with logic and consideration and empiricism, and it wasn't just a rebellious. It's not sounding like it was just a rebellious response to maybe things not going your way or God not showing in your life
No,
in other ways you may be looking for.
no, it was no, it was a journey to use Christianese. It was it was a journey, and telling my entire family that other than now which at the time wasn't, but now my Aunt Kathy is now an atheist, which is
Oh,
I could share that story. That was one of the most mind blowing events of my atheist journey so far. But other
wow.
than her and
Go
my
ahead,
two cousins,
Kathy.
we all we have in our family are a bunch of crazy Christians, and if they're not just crazy Christians, they're pastors, youth pastors, praise and worship pastors. Like
Hmm.
so, coming out in our family, not saying it's easy for anyone, but
Right.
when you're surrounded by Christians and full-time ministers and that's not something you just, hey guys, God's not real.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's not
Yeah.
that easy.
It really isn't. And the same with me. My family, all of my family is religious. I don't really know anybody. I think maybe my uncle on my mom's side may have been a non-believer, but my father, his interaction with her side was so toxic, they severed ties with both of them before he died. And I never got to ask him about it. As far as I know, everybody is religious. And it is very difficult to come out to them because you're afraid of losing their support, which is so critical to your well being. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's very difficult. But did you come out? I mean, did you come out as an atheist first?
So for those who don't know me very well, I don't beat around the bush. And if I just come in hot.
Good.
Whatever it is, I can't. I don't have the patience to play games and tiptoe and all that. Yeah, so I came out hot, and it was I just faith is bullshit.
I hope you said it just like that.
Oh, I did. It's a
Okay.
hashtag on our channel. It's a hashtag on our channel because that's how it started. Like faith is bullshit. Like
Faith is
this is
bullshit.
bullshit. And in to what you uh mentioned a minute ago, yeah, it's and I want to be very clear when I say this. Part of it is my own doing, and drawing my own boundaries and
Good,
understanding what's best for my mental health.
good.
But since my mom's passing, I think I've had one conversation with my brother, and
Oh,
anyone on my mom's side of the family. Anyway, let's say this: the only people that I've talked to is my Aunt Kathy, and
mm,
the rest of the family. I think maybe one time I saw them at my 90-year-old grandmother's birthday, and that was it. That's the
oh,
only reason we had contact.
yeah, I understand.
Part of it's me drawing my boundaries, but I can also say there's been little to no, reaching out, or trying to mend. or heal anything, because I won't go through it all right now because it's a long story. But
Oh, sure. No,
the
that was
way the way they did me at my mom's funeral. I'll say one thing. I sat in the back row at my mom's funeral. And
willingly, or did they put you in the back row?
there was no room. They left no place for me, with the family up front doing the thing, which was probably best because I ended up having to leave. I completely disassociated while I was there,
Mhm.
because it was the first time I'd been in a church building, and at that point, 4 years, whatever,
Mhm.
and also I can see my mom laying in a casket, so it was all just this big
Mhm.
this big mind fuck. So
Yeah, of course.
sorry, I took that all the way to the dark side. We can talk about more happy
No,
stuff.
no, actually, no, that's perfectly fine because I wanted to talk about your journey to atheism, because I can completely relate to growing up in a church infiltrated city. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee, and I always thought Knoxville, Tennessee had the most churches, um, because it is church, 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 church every block. So hearing from someone who has a similar upbringing, um, and hearing the journey, that's what's fulfilling. It's actually, I'm glad that you've being in the environment you grew up in, that you found your way out.
Mm.
um, your mother's story, of course, is very heartbreaking, but that is relatable for a lot of atheists. Being kind of rejected by family, having to find your way by yourself, which is already extremely difficult without the comfort of religion that you were raised with. So that's talking about this is perfectly fine. A lot of people, I'm sure, can relate, and I'm sure a lot of people are empathizing.
And yes, and I hope so. And the reason I am is transparent and just blunt and just lay it all out there is looking back at my deconstruction, then later deconversion, I wish I would have had more voices. And what I mean by
Mm.
that is more non-believing voices, not to confirm my doubt or my skepticism, but to just be there.
Mhm.
To know that I had a place to run, and
Mm.
some nights just a place to hide, right? And
Mm.
and
Interesting.
um and so we try to, as far as Tang is concerned and I'm concerned, that's what we try to provide, is that soft place for people to go and land and know that you're not going to get beat up here. It's not going to be, well, you don't do, that's where atheist your way came from, is you don't atheist the right way because you don't
Yeah,
do that. You don't do that. Fuck that.
right.
But I'm not interested in that. I want people to know that they're loved right where they're at, whether they're deconstructing, deconverting, or they make the hard claim there is no God. I don't care.
Mhm.
Okay, I
Sure.
just want you to know you're loved. So,
Yeah. Tell me more about that. You said Tang?
yep. So the Atheist Network Group in show the Tang Gang. If you ever hear that, that's where that came
Yes. Okay. So
from.
is that something you and Jenna created together?
So, um, so we originally started. It'll be 3 years ago. In a month or two, a buddy of mine originally, well, actually, there's four or five of us started the channel right before COVID like
Mhm.
became a thing, right? And
Okay.
um, yeah, we started, and it was originally the Atheist Roundtable, uh,
I like that.
and we had it was kind of like a video game where we'd have theists come on.
Oh.
And we had some interesting ones, let me tell you. But there was kind of like this gauntlet. Like you would start off with kind of just friendly, cordial conversations, get to know you questions. And then there was a second stage, and Ben, he's no longer active with our channel, but he had been an amazing individual. He was really um, he was really great at street epistemology, and
Mm.
would start teeing up some of the questions and using SE or the Socratic method.
Anthony Magnabosco and
Yeah,
Uber Gojian's method.
yeah. He was actually, it was Anthony Magnabosco that connected us with Ben.
Oh, great. Anthony's wonderful. I worked a lot with him.
Anthony's awesome. Yeah, I love Anthony. And then the boss round. J Mike, those that know J Mike is on very active with ACA, and then Axiom on Trial. He and I just lost his name. Cease to know. Cease's channel, but J Mike and I would be like the final round. So I came more from a scripture, theology, doctrinal point of view, and J Mike came obviously from the all philosophy, right?
Yeah.
So there was that, like, that's why I compare it to video games. Is like you get past this stage and you go, and then J Mike and I, we kind of went for the jugular,
Sure.
and trying to is this is your methodology, is it reliable? Whatever methods you're using to arrive at said belief, is it reliable, and does it stand up to all of the tests and all of the questions? Because for the longest time, our moniker, so to speak, was truth does not fear investigation. So if you have a true claim, let's get it. Because it shouldn't fear us, piercing and poking and prodding and asking and and doing all that. So that's how we originally started, and then Mike and I, not J Mike, the other Mike, he and I we're very different personalities in how we conduct business and everything, and everything was amicable, and we'd remained friends through that, but we made together a decision to split off. So he started another channel. I kept going with this, and then I had rebranded it then the Atheist Network Group, because I really wanted to focus on the networking, right, and bringing more like-minded people together, especially those that are hurting, and need that place. But then also starting to build conferences and do other things that humanizes the atheist.
Yeah.
Too many times in our society, our culture, if you proudly wear or proclaim that you are an atheist or a non-believer, then you are automatically just a God-hating, sin-loving, demonic, possessed individual.
Yeah.
And we do. We have to normalize atheism, and part of normalizing atheism is humanizing the atheist. So
exactly. So I heard that you guys did do a conference last year, and you're doing another this year.
Yeah, so try to clear my throat.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, so we had the first conference last year in June, and that was actually 3 years planned, because we started planning the first one pre-COVID, and I think it was 2 or 3 different times we had to reschedule and push it back. So yeah, we had Seth Andrews and Holy Kool-Aid, Dave Warren, Drew, Genetically Modified Skeptic, Cynthia McDonough, and I know I'm leaving people out, right? Obviously, my homie Dr. Josh was there, obviously. We had a ton of people there, and it's called Better, so it'll be Better 2023, and it'll again be in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and we'll have details and links and all that probably the next couple of weeks, because we finally have got confirmations from the speakers, so everything's locked in.
Yeah.
Build out the Eventbrite and all that, so it's gonna be badass.
Yes, I'm looking forward to promoting that, and also looking forward to attending as well, participating in some of the panels. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's a blast, and we're putting more of a focus on the panels this year.
Oh, cool.
Because the feedback that I received, because after the conference I'd put out a Google Forms link and ask people for their feedback, good, bad, and ugly. Like we want to know where we kicked ass and where we were terrible, and how do we improve for next year? How do we get better? Sure. And people loved the panels. They loved the panels. So we'll still have individual speakers, but there's going to be more time dedicated to the panel conversations and kind of that real-time live Q&A.
That's awesome. Well, that's good to know. I really enjoy those platforms, being face to face with people. It does help to humanize when people see, hey, you're not just some crazy angry atheist on the internet. You're actually a person who's pretty empathetic and relatively kind, I guess, in
Yeah,
person.
and the overwhelming positive feedback we got is I remember when we were working on the schedule, and I told Jenna that even well, 3 years ago, whatever it was now, when I first started to plan it, is I want in between, whether it's a speaker, a panel, I don't care what it is. I want like 15-minute slots
Hmm.
because I want people to be able to build friendships and relationships and connect,
Excellent.
and again humanize, and realize that we do have friends, and I get to shake hands and give a hug, and and do all
Yeah,
that, and have that, like you said, face to face interaction, and really, like I really do have friends. This isn't all just a digital make believe thing. Like
exactly.
these people are, do exist. They're real, and that was the overwhelming um, positive feedback we got was thank you for the time that was allowed just to build the community. And
Wow.
that's bad. Then just that we won.
Yeah, you did. That's glorious. So have you guys, kind of like along those lines, have you guys considered a social networking platform or something to kind of help facilitate that further?
uh after so I did the first two conferences. I wanted to keep it kind of I guess say bare bones, where it's
Okay.
just this, that way we can work through any of the hiccups, speed bumps, things like that. That way, going into year three, we have 2 years of experience doing this. Now we should be able to start building layers,
Yeah,
on
very
top of that.
smart.
So from a business strategy standpoint, that's where my brain, sits right now. As we get
Good.
through this one, then we look at it, because we and I'm gonna throw this out there, and if it never ends up happening, just remember I said this is a tease, but it's something we're entertaining. Is that once we have, like, this is our bag, and we do, and we're nailing it, systems and processes, all that are in place. I would love to have a biannual event, and one would
Mhm.
be better, and then the second one would be a debate forum, a live debate,
Oh,
uh,
ooh, sign
and
me
it
up. That sounds
and
fun.
it be built just like UDC. And if people aren't familiar, you can you go check out the archives on there. We did it for, I don't remember how long. I know when my mom passed, like all that shit just fell apart. Uh, but we're bringing that back, and we want to do live UDC style debates, where it's still real conversations, real
Yeah.
arguments,
Yeah.
a formal format, but then insulated by pure entertainment, like WWF type Vince McMahon madness, where you get the conversations, but you also get the hype and you get the
That'd be
fun.
dope. That would
'Cause-
be dope. I'm down for that. I am so down for that. And but you guys did recently start a debate channel as well?
So the official launches will be coming up. I'm gunning for February 6th.
Yes.
Is the mark I'm aiming at. We'll see. I might have to push it back a week or so, but that's what I'm aiming at. And yes, we're reintroducing that. And babe, I love you. Will you grab that belt for me, please? Um, so UDC is very unique. I've not seen anyone else do what we did and what we're now going to do again. Is we'll have weekly debates, whatnot, but then at least once a year, possibly twice, but at least once a year, there is a debate tournament.
Ooh.
And there are like the first one we did, there was a $500 cash prize, and then
Oh,
there
yes.
was the championship belt.
Oh, the championship belts.
And as
Oh, I want it.
UDC, everything on it, and Atlas Engineer was the first champion. um
Ah, nice.
and we had a blast with that. And yeah, but I've not seen anybody else do that on the YouTubes, as far as you still have to bring, you still got to come on your A game, like you still got to
Mhm.
debate.
Mhm. Yeah.
But we're also going to have fun, because that's one thing for me. Like, I love the debates, but when they're just like boom 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 boom, it's just talking and talking and talking, I get bored.
The philosophical, excuse me, stuff really gets going. As you can tell, I'm so tired of saying that word. That happens a lot, like, and it gets redundant. And I have another debate Thursday, and I already know it's going to be a knockdown, drag out fight. So that will probably be more interesting, but not because of the content. But I don't think, I mean, content is one thing, but people do want to see a fight.
Yeah. Well, in between, we call it rounds. In between rounds, it's not just opening statements, everyone,
Oh, sure.
examinations. I mean, it's still that, but we call them rounds, right? And in between rounds, just like you would see on WWF or UFC or
Right.
whatever, there's a host and a co-host, and they give analysis in between each round
Hmm.
while the interlocutors get ready for the next round. And we
Nice.
have a referee. But like
Oh,
it's badass. Yeah.
love it. Oh yeah, I would love that. Yeah, I've been told that I need to work on my rhetoric and some other things, but I'm definitely going to pick your brain to get some ideas for debates, because even though I know that we are right, and even though I know that they bring the same bullshit all the time, seems like the transcendental argument for the existence of God is just an unrelenting point that people bring up all the time. I don't know if you've heard that, but you probably
Only like once or twice or 100 or 1,000.
have. What's the most like stated argument that theists have given you on your platform for the existence of God that you've had to kind of go up against?
Trees.
Literally the trees? Romans 1 specifically?
Creation. Cre-
Mm.
it's the it blows my mind.
It
It
is
blows
pretty
my
mind
mind.
blowing. Yeah.
But yeah, look at the trees, man. Look at the trees, man. Look at the
Look at the
human
damn tree.
eyeball. Look at the
Yeah.
human eyeball. That means
Look at your
God.
body.
You know that?
DNA. It's a code. You didn't know that? Really? He wrote the code because codes are words. Obviously. No. Yeah. It's the same bullshit. It's the
It
same
exhausts me.
bullshit.
It
It
exhausts
is
me.
exhausting. Yeah. I'm wondering how long I'll actually be able to do it. But I want to, because like there's no one that looks like me doing this, and I want to be that representation. But I just I respect that you guys are doing so much in the community, because that lack of support, that's real. Feeling alone is very real. And the
Absolutely.
last person I interviewed said that, because he came from a religious family as well and was a pastor as well, that going through his deconstruction and transition from Christianity to atheism was very isolating.
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't know how to deal with that.
It's tragic.
Mm.
And I don't mean to go dark again because I'm going to spin it back around.
No, that's fine.
But in the heat of my deconverting, so now I feel like I've executed. I've done it. I've done the job I needed to do for me to
Mm.
deconstruct.
You did the work.
When I walked away and I realized that nobody that I went to church with, nobody that is in my family, like all these people that I thought were my people, my friends,
Mm.
my
Mm.
community,
Yeah.
they've all disappeared.
Hmm.
And I've yet to anybody, and my brother does not pastor a small church. It's a big church.
Oh,
I've yet to this day to hear from anyone from that church. And I was those things that I described here: the drummer, small group leader, youth group, all that. Like I'm talking like 10 years.
wow.
So
So you
I
have some
wasn't just a
established
small part.
relationships.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't just a small part of this said community or whatever.
And your
Uh,
brother was running the game. So even if you did none of that, you would still be known.
right. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that's why I don't lean on that. I focus on my involvement and how
Mm.
involved I was and how and at the time how passionate I was as much as I could be about all of it, and
Mm.
especially the music. I'm if y'all don't know by now, I'm a music geek. But um, what I lost my train of thought as soon as I said music. It knocked me off my course. What was I talking about?
You were talking about your involvement in the church and how after 10 years of all your participation, people
Oh
tend
yeah,
to,
yeah, yeah.
they
Sorry.
fell off. Yeah,
Uh,
no worries.
I remember because at the same time that I was deconverting, I was going through a divorce after 16 years of marriage. And
Okay, I'm sorry. Can I time out real fast? I know this is going to be rude, and I apologize. You keep talking about your 30s, and you keep indicating that you're older than you look. So I have to ask, how old are you?
well, here now I have to answer a question with a question. How old do you think I am?
32?
God, I love you. I'm 41.
No, he doesn't mean it, Jenna. He doesn't mean it. He doesn't mean it.
Oh, she's laughing. She's laughing. I love that question. I'm 41.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm not getting those vibes. Okay. Because you're like, I've been married for 16 years and I did this in my 30s. I'm like, what? Okay.
I'm a big kid. That's all. I'm just a big kid.
Yeah. I get like really like, I don't know. You have like, I don't like to say vigor, but like an excitement and anticipation of the future. I mean, that is more indicative of somebody who is a little bit more youthful, not like in their maturity, clearly not, but at least I guess younger people have more hope. I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of it is, and you may agree with this, and Jen and I've talked to others that agree with this. I didn't really get to live freely for
Mm,
majority of my life, right?
agreed.
Now, don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. I ripped and ran and walked away, but I was never an atheist. Like I still, even when I was selling dope and doing dope, and that's a whole other, like we could go 3 hours on this talking about this, but I still believed in God, right?
Yeah.
It was still
Wow.
the fact I haven't got shot and killed or I'm not in prison is because God is still watching over me because my mom prays, right?
So you
And
were still running them streets though. That's
all the Jenna, all the streets, all the streets. But yeah, that's a whole nother it, to me it feels like a whole nother lifetime now looking back at it. I'm like, damn, dude, you did some dumb ass shit. You did some dumb ass shit. Uh but during that the divorce and the deconversion, essentially they were married, right? Everything was happening at the same time. I was losing my
mm,
family, I was
mm,
the church, I was losing the God. Like
mm.
everything that I held near and dear to me was gone.
Did you have children as well?
Yep, yep. Four children with my ex-wife.
Four kids.
Four
What?
babies.
Whoa.
Four
Okay,
babies.
so that wow, so there was a lot. That just adds a whole new dimension to it, really.
Yeah, it was that was brutal, man. And
That is brutal.
my ex, and now today we are amicable and co-parent
Good.
well together today. But those
Good.
first 5 years, because she
Mm.
made it nasty. She made it nasty.
Oh my gosh.
And so going through all that, and I told Jen, I remember the one that, so what I was building up to is there were three instances where going through that I found myself alone, laying in my apartment, now brand new to this single thing and having no friends and having no people. There were three different times that I attempted to take my life because I was so lonely
Yeah.
and I was now so isolated and had nowhere to go. I didn't know where to go, but I knew I couldn't go back to this church thing because
Right.
I already determined that I don't think this thing is real, right?
Mhm.
And uh, the reason I share that is one of the pivotal moments was when I got online and someone started to introduce me to like Mike, well, both Mikes, and then Murder Shed Steve and Just Jeff, the guys that I originally started the channel with, and I was like, holy shit, there are others. There are others. Other
Mhm.
people don't believe.
Yeah.
Other people have had to face this shit, and they feel the things I'm feeling right now, or have felt what I'm feeling right now, and that was a again, to use Christianese, that was a breakthrough for me
Mhm. Yeah.
because now I knew I wasn't alone. Now I knew, because up to that point, I literally felt like I was one person on an island,
Yeah.
and everyone hated me,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
just stranded. with all these people that hated me. And then as soon as I started meeting, and I'm like, these people are cool as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, the rest is history. After that, that's why we did and take the direction with our channel that we do. Is we want anyone that's in that type of situation or feeling those things to know that they have that soft place, they have that home to land.
You are, yeah, absolutely. So in those moments, in those times, because um I've had those moments in times. There were days that I was like, I'm not getting out of today. I don't want to. Um, I can relate to that. What got you through that day, through those minutes and hours? Because those drag on when you're in that state.
Other than those three instances, and I don't laugh to make, obviously it's me. I'm not making fun or making light of it, but
Mm,
uh, it but actually, Jen and I, was yesterday or today, or it was last night, we were talking about, I, through therapy, again, because now faith and prayer is involved through therapy, especially talk therapy, you know, and I say I have the most amazing secular slash atheist therapist on the
oh,
planet.
great, great.
Um, but through that, learning that as soon as I felt and could acknowledge that those thoughts were creeping in, you know,
Mm,
as far as the isolation, the loneliness, why is everyone abandoning me, you know, and which is my greatest fear,
yeah,
is because of my childhood and growing up. And again, there's layers to this onion to unpeel, but uh, that fear, as soon as I feel those things coming on, I have to find something that helps me disconnect for a minute
sure.
to bring myself back to being rational again and not getting in the cycle of whether it's the bipolar, the anxiety, whatever it is. I have to be able to hit that pause button.
Sure.
And what I did was, before Fort Wayne, the city had the motorized scooters. Before we had it as,
Yeah.
I went and bought two or three for me and my kids. And my
Wow.
escape was, I'd put my AirPods in, and I would go ride the scooter and just rock out to my favorite hip hop, and until I was centered again and I knew
Yeah.
I was healthy again, I would just ride and ride and ride.
It's
And
a great
sometimes it's
idea.
something that simple
Yeah.
to avoid going dark, you know, or
Yeah.
letting the depression or the loneliness take over. So hopefully that helps somebody, because that was a game changer for me.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. My psychiatrist has been getting me to go outside forever, and I want to like stay in with the curtains drawn, and I have I live in a great area to just get out and walk. So that's a great idea. So I do hope that does help someone, because those are very dark moments, and
Mhm.
but they do need to be curbed immediately upon those thoughts starting to creep in, because once they creep in and grab hold, they're very hard to dislodge.
Yeah, it's when they creep in, if we allow it, it starts with, typically starts with a singular thing,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then it starts grabbing the threads or the strands of everything else, and now all of a sudden you're overwhelmed, and you're being like yarn, you're being wrapped with all these other thoughts, because now the anxiety builds on this, and then what about this, well then what about, because this affects this, then what
Right.
about that, and all of a sudden everything's shit, right? Everything's
Yeah.
shit. But when you're thinking logically, you know that's not the case.
Right.
You're not thinking logically when the yarn starts
Right.
wrapping around.
Right. Okay. So it seems like things are going very well now. You all have a very directed purpose and a lot of great um, interventions that you're providing for the atheist community. Do you guys? So you said you wanted to definitely work on providing a space. Where is Tang right now? You guys have a channel. You're doing the conferences. What else are you doing to kind of help provide that safe space for atheists looking for support?
Those are the two main focuses right now, as far as the conference and just the YouTube channel. And I,
Yeah.
I think probably the most helpful thing to point out, like with our channel, is we we tried to how do I want to say this? Have the conversations, call out the bullshit. You know,
Right.
we review terrible apologetics. My favorite one to go after right now is Trinity Radio, Braxy, and Mr. Pritchett. For those that know,
I'm gonna have to
uh,
check them out.
those are my favorite. Those are my favorite to go after. Jenna just found a new one yesterday, the day before that I'll start reviewing, and they're Christian cartoons. And can I tell you, they're terrible. They're terrible. And
I would love to see you and Jenna go after Paul and Morgan. That's who I want to see you guys go after.
you
You know
heard
what
it.
those are? Yeah.
You heard it.
Oh my God. That would be amazing. I want to see that matchup. That would be awesome.
Yeah, so like things like that. But then also again, because the longer I'm away from the belief and I see how society interacts with us terrible atheists,
Mm,
is the
sinners.
again the humanizing, the
Yeah.
humanization, and giving like so. Many times I DJ light at night and I go
Mm,
live. I could not go live. I could just do that on my own, right? But I do that because I can't even tell you how many messages or text messages that I get that Oz, you don't know how much that means to me when you're on there, and
mm,
uh, whether it's insomnia or depression or
yeah.
anxiety or whatever, and I more times than not I can count on if I open up YouTube, I know you're going to be there having fun, DJing, and it's usually via my insomnia as well.
Yeah.
It-
I have
but
insomnia
again,
too.
it's that community where it's like I got you.
Right.
If that's what you want, that's what you need in that moment to put a smile on your face and know somebody cares. I'll spin I'll spin records all night long, all night long. You know, so hopefully that answered your question because it is we're weird, man. We're in the atheist in the atheist community. We're kind of the black sheep, to be honest with you, because
We are the black sheep for sure.
we don't we don't. I appreciate philosophy and it does serve a purpose. And I've actually had to change my mind on that on several conversations with Shane the Skeptic. And
Mm,
there is a purpose. There's a time and a place for it, but we don't do it enough for some of the other atheists. You know, it's we have too much
agreed.
fun, man. We have too much
Yeah.
fun.
Too much fun sinning and fornicating and doing all of the things that Christians pretend not to do. But
Yeah,
yeah.
it's. I think what we're doing is awesome, but there's other people who are like, yeah, especially me. I won't say anybody else that's involved in the channel. That Oz guy's a fucking asshole, you know, and you know, so but they don't take the time to get to know me. That's the problem. They don't take the time to get to know me because when you actually do I'm just a giant teddy bear.
Oh,
I'm just a giant teddy bear. So don't be scared.
don't be scared. Well, that I appreciate that. I have to say I really enjoyed talking with you and would love to have you on the channel. I'm having Jenna on next week, and I have to ask because I was like, should I ask her this? But I'll just ask him. How did you guys meet?
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna pour a drink. We're gonna celebrate again. Celebrate again. So, yeah, what had happened was, so when we first started our channel, I started making rounds like, Neil 604 Atheist and
Neil's great.
other channels, and just trying to get our channel out there, you know, and
Sure.
awareness. And it was on Neil 604 Atheist after show. She's got a big
Yes.
grin on her face. Uh, I jumped in when we had finished the stream, and I saw Neil was live. You know, it's after party. I jumped in there, and I was like, "Oh, who's this?"
Yep.
Now, and again, I have to be very clear on this because at the time, I had prior commitments, and being being a trying to be the best I can, a man of integrity and
Mhm.
honesty and all that. I you know, we had a couple conversations, but I kept it very professional, very cordial,
Yeah.
and all that. But the first time I was like, hey, who is that? And then my prior commitments were no longer commitments. And so I spent if I wish we would have been able to film when I explained this to her mom and her sister, because it was hilarious to watch their videos. But there was a morning where like 12, 13, 14 times, like I typed out these messages and I delete them, then typed them out and then deleted them. And after like literally like 12 sometimes, I messaged her and just said hi.
Oh.
And after that, we kept talking. So we met about 2 years ago. We've been dating for over a year now, because we originally met on Neil the 604 Atheist after party.
Well, go ahead, Neil. Neil's awesome.
He's the matchmaker.
Neil's a matchmaker. I'm sure he'll love to hear that. I think Neil is my second or third episode. So Neil is really awesome at helping propel people in the atheist community and also apparently match them up. So well done, Neil.
Yeah, and mad love to Neil, because he is the rite of passage, so to speak.
Yeah.
You've not you've not atheist YouTubed. So.
Yeah, he had me on his show as well. It was a lot of fun. Hey Neil, just FYI, I'm looking for a female person, and I'm joking. I wonder if I get canceled for saying that. Probably.
Somebody messaged Neil.
This is the type of woman that I like. I want her to be shorter than me. No, okay, but.
We got measurements. We got
measurements, waist size. I can't say anything about anybody's waist size. No, as long as she's cool, and I don't want to go into my preferences, but I'll just say you're a lucky man.
Oh, I be knowing.
You blessed. Let me just say you blessed.
I'm too blessed to be stressed.
Too blessed to be stressed. Agreed. He's a lucky man. I'm trying to get like you over her, okay?
I agree.
Jenna. Yeah.
Normally she loves like now being able to sit right across from me and we can see each other while we're shooting. There's a time, like she turns her back because she's like blushing and embarrassed. Like, right now she's like turning in her chair because she's like, I'm blushing.
Well, I am looking forward to having her on the show next week. I am also looking forward to participating in the promotion and participation of the Better Conference, as well as participating in the debate platform that you guys have started. I want to get better, and I am, of course, currently doing some debates and have one Thursday, but I am going to be picking your brain. I just want to give you that forewarning after.
Anytime.
Because I have a lot of, I'm actually going on the line with Matt Dillahunty on Wednesday. So I want to get as much input as possible to kick ass, because these people are coming with it, and they're coming with the attitude and the bullshit. So
the shortest thing I could say to give you comfort and solace and confidence is just remember, they're arguing for make-believe.
Yes. Oh goodness, that's so true.
Just demand. Don't ask. Don't request. Demand evidence. Game over.
So here's what because I do, right? And I'm like, you guys are making the claim that this God has all these traits, but you haven't provided evidence that God exists. And their evidence is, well, I told you that the transcendentals exist. I told you logic exists and numbers exist. So therefore God exists. What evidence are you looking for specifically? And I'm like, empirical evidence. And they're like, what does that mean?
Or just say that doesn't, or no, don't take ownership. Ask them, well, what is your standard of evidence? Why does this meet your criteria? What is your standard? Because, and again, I would say this out loud, but to me, it's like, I feel like my standard of evidence is like way up here.
Yeah.
Yours is like way down here. So I need to know what your standard of evidence is, because you're buying this shit and I'm not.
Right. Like, why are you? And yeah, because it's wild because I've had these conversations before. I'm going to take another look at Anthony's content over the next couple of days when I'm not studying or preparing for this debate and Matt's show. But I guess I'm okay with like call-in shows, but like debates, just because they're debates, they make me very nervous. I forget all the things I've learned, and it's just debates make me nervous. I know I'm good at it. I know I'm articulate and well spoken and well read and educated, but it just takes me out of my element.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. That's why I've done a few debates like early on, and that's why I shifted to more of like SE or just open dialogue,
Yeah,
because I flow and operate more naturally in that, and I actually listen better, which
yeah,
that's key, because if we are being skeptical and we do want to believe in more true things than not, we have to be able
yeah,
to listen,
yeah.
right? In a debate format, I'm really not listening. I'm looking at my notes, like in my
Same. And I'm typing down notes and I'm like, okay, what philosopher? Hold up. Is that Hume? Because Hume comes up
yeah.
every single time, no matter what I'm watching. I watch strictly Christian channels just to hear their arguments, and they bring up Hume every time without fail.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, let's just bring up Hume already. Okay, let's get that out of the way.
You
Next,
should
so
do that.
like,
You should do
what's
that
the
with your
next?
you should do it with your opening statement. My opening statement is Hume.
Right. I can see the rest of my time.
Have at it. Have at it.
Hume, just Hume. Like, let's just jump right to it because that's the only person. I mean, like, not the only one, but yeah, it's the request. I mean, I just asked for evidence. What's the evidence? Well, what evidence do you want? Well, it depends on what the definition of God. Well, God is an immaterial, spaceless, timeless, and that just makes no sense because something can't exist without space or time. But it's God's okay, and it's they're
So
like,
what
well,
you're telling me is you don't have evidence.
right. No, I do. We have the transcendental laws of the universe. We have logic and we have math and we have excluded middle and non contradiction and all that. And I'm just like,
And how is that there for God?
because you can't justify your way of thinking unless you agree that God created those things.
That still doesn't get us to a God.
You're a
See,
sinner.
that,
You just don't want to see
that's
it.
why I can't do debates, and that's why nobody will. And I'm not saying this like
It's
because I'm
pushing
like
me.
the master debater.
No,
It's
it's
because
exhausting.
my brain doesn't work that way. It's like either just fucking put it on a plate and serve me dinner, or shut the
Right.
fuck up.
And to be honest with you, and I can't remember who I was talking to. Maybe I think it was Jimmy Snow. I was talking to him, or was it Damien? Probably both of them, because I consulted both of them before my first debate. And I was telling Jimmy, I'm like, I don't know, because like I love Matt Dillahunty. I listen to him all the time, but he's been saying the same shit for 20 years, and people have been bringing the same shit for 20 years, and I'm thinking, I don't know if I can do this over and over and over and over and over. And I don't really like philosophy like that. I
No, I'm not.
don't like. I just don't like it like that.
Yeah, not to drag. I don't want to drag this out. I can talk about this shit for days. But the one thing I
Oh,
tell
do it
Jenna,
again for
she
sure.
listened to Randolph and T Jump, whatever they do this Sunday thing, and it goes for like 8 fucking hours.
Oh
Eight
God, yeah.
fucking
The
hours.
3 hours that I have to do is on Thursdays exhausting enough.
I'm like, what? How do you
What
do
do
that?
they do? Just talk about philosophy?
How do you do this?
Oh my
Like,
God.
how do you? It's same shit, different toilet.
Yeah.
Same shit.
I'm taking that. I've never heard that.
It's the
Same
same,
shit, different toilet.
same shit, different toilet. How do you listen to this over and over? Because nothing changes. It's just the voice changes.
It really doesn't. The voice right, and it's the same thing. The same because I mean, Dillahunty and Slick. Those are the two predominant ones I've watched because for some reason I'm being haunted by presuppositionalists and I cannot get away from them. And they haunt me in my dreams. They haunt me in my nightmares. They haunt me during the day. So that's mostly what I listen to, and they're using the same bad arguments. So I don't know how long this is going to last, frankly.
I, you know what? Just as long as you can tolerate it and you want to do it, do it. And then once that's where I got to the point where I was like, nope, not interested anymore.
I might have to find another way because what I really want to do is like the TikTok commentary, like the joke comedy type stuff. Like that's what actually aligns with me and what I enjoy doing. Debates, because I wanted to do it because there are no non-white males doing debate in religion. There's just not, and I'm intelligent enough to do it and well spoken enough to do it.
Do,
Ooh.
do you have the pain tolerance to do it? That's
That's the
the
question.
question.
Yeah, because that's what Jimmy asked me. He's like, I just can't anymore. But he and Matt still do. I mean, okay, like I like the call-in show format because that is not formal. Like I like call-in shows. I can do that. But like the formal debates and the, like having the same conversations and people saying the same dumb shit. Because you're right, they are arguing for make believe. It's wild to me. And I'm just listening to them like this wouldn't be acceptable for any other religion, which other people do use these specific arguments to justify their belief in their particular God, but you're discounting them.
Yeah, and
It,
and how dare you bring up the outsider's test of faith? How dare you?
I know.
Don't you
Well,
do
that's
that?
not, they're not right because, see, they're Unitarian and Unitarians believe that God is one person when he's really three. And I'm just like, yo, that's not the point. The point is, neither of you have demonstrated the existence of God, and you're both using the same bullshit to attempt to do so. And it's really not pointing to God at all. I mean, the best you could do is maybe argue for a deistic deity, which is by definition not really detectable.
Yeah, and yeah, because
Am
all
I
of it,
taking you back?
it comes to yeah, it just comes down to a general God idea,
Yeah,
right? Just a
it
general
is.
theism that does not navigate me then to this Jesus motherfucker that
No,
supposedly was born by a virgin. Then he disappears.
right.
The text, he disappears for how many years? He disappears.
Thousands. Yeah,
And then all of
disappointed.
a sudden he rolls back up, and hey, I'm gonna die on this stick. I'm gonna die on
Yeah,
this stick, and
yeah,
then I'm gonna disappear for another 3 days. This dude's a disappearing motherfucker, right?
yeah,
I'm
he
gonna
is.
disappear for another 3 days, and then poof, I'm back.
I'm back, bitches.
Guess who's
You
back?
know, I'm back again. Yo, like I don't know what I was watching something or heard something was talking to family member and Jesus popped into my head. Oh no, I think it was Jim Caviezel actually, and I was like, I don't know how I came across Jim Caviezel, but I like just typed in Jesus, and there were all these like beautiful, lean white men with like gorgeous long hair and beards. And I'm just
Blue
like,
eyes.
how is this God? Like, how? Like, when I see this shit, that doesn't scream God to me. That screams person, just a normal person you might run into on Venice Beach. Like, that doesn't look like a God to me. And this the old white male thing, that is a person. That's a person. And that's who they're claiming created the universe. And it just, the anthropomorphism is, to me, the biggest indicator that this is bullshit.
We were not made in God's image. God was made in our image. And when I
Yeah,
say our,
every single one.
yes, the long blonde haired white male with blue eyes that wrote the
Hmm.
shit. Obviously I'm being
And
facetious
the
there.
older version of him as well,
Yeah,
because
with
it's just two
gray in the
versions of,
beard, getting a
yeah,
little scraggly, doesn't keep up on the beard anymore. Yeah,
weathered and
that's
wise. And
yeah. That I can't remember who I would attribute the quote to, but someone said that the human brain is the birthplace of every god we've known, and
I might tweet that.
hard
That's
stop,
good.
hard
Yeah.
stop, hard stop.
Mm.
That's where they all started.
That's a great, actually, that's a great shirt. I'm gonna have to write that down actually. Probably I'll probably attribute it to somebody, but the human brain is the birthplace.
Of every god we've known.
Forgot how to spell brain on camera. Is the birthplace. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Um and and that's probably why I can't do this for much. I think I'm gonna probably make a pivot. I do like the conversations, but the debate is just kind of it's and then people are so, what gets me is the arrogance.
Uh,
The arrogant, flippant, dismissive, self-righteous, self-aggrandizing attitude that people have for arguing for make believe. I'm just
Nikki,
like, what?
let me tell something to you. let me tell you something. the and I say this about the atheists as well. Because
Fair.
again, before I'm an atheist, I'm a skeptic.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
sure.
listening. I'm listening to everyone, right?
Yeah. Agreed.
Anyone that pretends, because that's all you're doing. You're pretending.
Yeah.
Anyone that pretends to have knowledge of, know, have an understanding, when I say understanding, like that you believe that it's fact
Mm.
of how we got here,
Yeah.
how all this shit popped off. Like if you pretend on either side of the aisle, if you pretend to know, you are an
Agreed.
arrogant piece of shit.
Yeah, agreed.
Sure.
And to have divine revelation, like God is specifically speaking to you. Calvin is specifically blowing my mind. Oh, you're so
Oh,
special.
don't get me started. Oh, girl.
Oh, aren't you so special? That this lame ass motherfucker who's wiping out babies and murking people in the Old Testament wants to be your friend. Aren't you special? Okay. Well, look
Nikki,
at
you
you.
didn't know they're part of the elect. I mean, erect.
Yeah, right. You know what? I've been talking about penises on my Twitter page today, and there are a few not those gooey duck clams. They look like erect
Oh, I saw
penises.
that. That's
Yeah, you
not,
see that shit? So weird.
there's my youngest daughter would say, Daddy, that's nasty. That's
That is
nasty.
nasty. Yeah, that is Daddy Jesus. That's nasty.
Yeah, and fuck your wet kisses.
Yeah. I want to see the lyrics. See, that's what I want to do with my channel. I want to get shit like that and talk about shit like that. I want lyrics from Jesus's like weird shit about Jesus daddy, wet D Jesus, and I want to comment on like the old there's like this video of this old senior citizen choir that's singing "It's Getting Hot in Here, so take off all your robes," and that's the type of shit.
Oh, you would love
that
it.
I want.
Maybe you can find it and put the link in the side chat. I did a stream 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I went through and found all of these terrible Christian like remixes or renditions of hip hop music.
Oh my
Mainly.
God. Yes.
Oh, and
See, that would be fun.
my favorite is still WAP.
I was gonna say,
Oh
you was listening to that
my
last night. Actually,
God.
this morning I was listening to it. I love that song.
I love the original.
I
The
love the
Christian version
song.
will you will be in stitches.
It's a
Worship and
guilty
prayer.
pleasure.
Worship and prayer. That's what WAP stands for in the Christian world. Worship and prayer.
How do they? What's going on in the background? Because there are whores in this house.
Well, I think it says I don't want to
The
miss
Lord's in this house, or something
but
like that.
yeah, it's the Lord's in this house or the words in this house, something like that. But I have an entire stream where like I found all these batshit fucking like, and these people they actually Nikki, they invested their time. They invested time out of
Yeah.
the short life that we have here on this planet.
Very short. It's
They
shortened
invested
even more so by
time
that
to go
nonsense.
remix this shit.
I don't know why. You know that it was the funniest thing about WAP's release was the Christian outrage and just
That was
absolute
beautiful.
degeneration of it was excellent. And Ben Shapiro, oh my goodness. That was the funniest shit ever. When he read those lyrics,
Oh
someone actually
God, yes.
remixed that. It was like hilarious. I'm like, wet ass P word. Make that pull-out game weak. He said it. So
And the problem is Ben's probably never even experienced the ability to pull out or not pull out. So
I
he's
think
like, what?
you know
What
what?
do you mean by pull out?
His
What,
wife
are
is
we talking about a
pregnant.
pull out bed, like on a couch and a sofa?
You know his wife is pregnant, and
It's not
this
his.
might get me canceled, but she's not the worst looking.
I don't think that gets you canceled, but I doubt it's his.
Who would what Trevor Lawrence, like some guy did like a parody of like Ben Shapiro. I think it's Sir Spence, CER Spence. He is hilarious. He did a parody, and in the parody, I think his wife was like watching Trevor Lawrence, and he like touched the seat after she got up and it was wet or something. And he was like, maybe it's Trevor Lawrence. But seriously, check that out. Sir Spence, it was like a couple of years ago when it came out. He did this whole parody. He does an insanely good Ben Shapiro. And He's like he's like on the internet, like editing his Wikipedia page, trying to add inches to his height, and like it's a bunch of crazy shit. It's very, very funny. And he's like, I only eat mayo with like plain white chicken. And it's very, very hilarious. And he's like, what did he say? Black BBC. He's like, BBC, they're trolls, and like Google's BBC. And he's like, get out of here. It's like, I need to investigate this further. And it's just a very, very funny parody of him. Very well done.
I can imagine, and I will look that up.
Yes.
Like that satire and comedy.
I will send it to Jenna. It's freaking hilarious.
But I can only imagine being Ben Shapiro's partner, because they probably have to be ready for a debate just to engage in sexual activities.
Well, honey, I would like to try doggy tonight. Well, doggy is not Christian. Facts don't care about your feelings.
Is that a universal claim?
Is that a universal claim?
How do you ground that in your morality?
Right. Missionary. That's it.
And then she's like, babe, I just wanted you to hit it.
Yeah, like I just want some dick. That's it. I don't know why. Being around you would almost make me like not want dick. And then that's just evidence that being a lesbian, I'm telling you, it can't be a choice, because like anyone who's been with Jen or Ben, if they just had the ability to just snap their fingers and be done with it, they would, but they can't.
No, they can't.
They can't.
They
have to.
This is gonna be a hard right turn. No pun intended. Hard right turn. Because I just saw in the side because I tried not to look at the side chat when I'm on shows. But I saw Aunt Kathy's name pop up.
Who?
Aunt Kathy. That's my real life.
Oh, Aunt Kathy.
My real life, like not
Is
online.
she
there? She was. If you scroll, well, now you got to scroll up. Yeah, she was there. I don't know if she's still here. But
Aunt Kathy! First time watching. I'm gonna have to say hi, Aunt Kathy. That's dope.
That's real life auntie.
Have her on too, actually.
Oh, you should. Because you want to talk about a well of Bible knowledge.
Yeah.
Coming out of it, like for years and years and years and years. And her ex-husband was a pastor, and read and spoke Greek. Like she's very
hardcore.
Yeah.
So she really knows.
She knows the book.
She's who should be doing these debates.
There she is.
Aunt Kathy, I'm gonna need for you to tap in for me on Thursday and just take this man to town. Take this man to task, or whatever it is, because because they're like, well, do you read Greek? Well, no, but I don't need to read Greek to know this is bullshit.
Yeah, we
no Hebrew either.
I don't need to know Hebrew or Greek or even
Aramaic.
Dr. Josh, because he taught me a little bit, even ancient Sumerian. Like, we don't need to know how to read all of this shit to know that you've built a fantasy up in your head. We don't need to know that.
Absolutely, no, we do not. Is there a way to? I wish I could like get her in somehow. I'm still learning how to use this. Oh, 1 second. I wonder if there's a way to like. Does she have a camera or?
She does, but she's a early rester. She's probably just gonna be in the side chat. No, but I know if you want, we can get you guys connected. I know
that would be great. I'd love to hear her story.
Yeah.
Yes.
As shitty as my story is, hers is 10 times worse and amazing at the same time than mine. But because we talked about it earlier, now that she's here, she'll get a little chuckle while we're talking about it. And Aunt Kathy, she doesn't want you to debate. She just wants you to come on and hang out and talk like what we're doing right now. But,
oh no, we are not debating. Oh, see, this is what I want though. I want to have conversations and I want to make fun of people. That's what I want to do. Debating is really, really unpleasant.
Hey,
it's just unpleasant.
I'll let you, boy. But Aunt Kathy, what I told you earlier is that, like, in my post-faith, my atheist journey, so far, my most mind-blowing moment was with Aunt Kathy. So
Yeah.
to give a little more of the backstory, so well, I told you about her ex-husband, but like our family, they are the most ridiculous, fundamental, charismatic evangelical Christians that you'll find, right?
Actually, I would like to challenge that. You guys can come down for Thanksgiving and go to my parents' house without me because I cut them off, and then you'll see the foolishness.
We'll probably sit there. We'll probably concur that they're all crazy. They're just all crazy.
Yeah.
But I remember Aunt Kathy had messaged me, and she where she lives is about an hour and a half ish away from Fort Wayne, and she was like, "Hey nephew, I'm going to be in Fort Wayne next week. Do you want to grab some pizza?"
Hmm.
And I'm like, mm, I feel like because this is before my mom had passed. I was like, I feel like this is a you're doing recon work right now, and you, you want to talk to me so you can try to reconvert me.
Get him back.
That's
Yeah.
that's the first thing. I was like, yeah, I'll meet you. So we met at a pizza place here, and we sat down. And once we got our food, she said, "Well, I just want to tell you before we start, before anything is said, that I'm not here to witness to you,
Oh,
to convert you,
good.
or anything like that. Actually, I have questions for you."
Good.
And I was
Oh.
like, okay.
Is this that Donald? What's that movie? Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Were you looking for Donald Sutherland? It's like
I'm
she
like,
starts pointing at you.
I don't know if that was an attempt to like soften me up, so I put guards down, like what but she started asking questions about the text, about
Hmm.
faith, about
Wow.
prayer, and I forget exactly what I asked her, how I asked the question, but like I asked her, what are some of the things that are still essentially causing you to believe or cling to this belief or this idea.
Right.
And she had told me that she had recently bought some bedroom furniture, but it was
Hmm.
missing some pieces. And one night, either when she was going to bed or waking up, whatever, she was on a website and she had prayed, that God, I would really love to have that.
Hmm.
Just one of those innocent Christian prayers, right? Then, however much time went by, a friend, a daughter, I think it was a daughter of a friend that she knew was having a garage sale or something along those lines, and had the exact pieces, Nikki, had the exact pieces that she was looking
Well,
for.
God's looking out.
And that meant God had answered a prayer. And then not only that, she got it for free because she had family give her birthday money. Like
Oh.
her gift cards or money or whatever for her birthday. So not only did she find the pieces, she didn't have to pay for it.
Well, praise him. He works
And
in
and I
mysterious
said,
ways.
and then I asked her, I said, and Kathy, first of all, I love that you get your bedroom furniture. Like that's awesome.
Congrats.
But could there not be a very natural explanation for this?
Yeah.
There's how many of and we didn't go this far to, but how many hundreds of thousands of these pieces were made in America? Like there is a high probability that other people own this that live near you and may even know you, and you stumbled upon it, and it happened to be your birthday when you got money for your birthday. That because God didn't like move your birthday to a different date,
No.
and He most certainly didn't say, "Well, this is a one of a kind piece, and I'm going to put this here, to do this." And it's when you start walking yourself through that, and obviously I'm being playful in that,
Sure.
but it was those conversations, and even talking about Genesis and things like that, where we talked, and the conversation went amazing, right? And she
Mm.
started calling into our call-in show, and asking questions and diving in. But when I the funny part is of that, I walked out to my car after we had atheist pizza. We had atheist pizza. Walked out to my car, and I sat there. I watched her pull off and leave, and I sat there for 10 minutes, and I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" Because it was if you knew her, knew my mom, and how indoctrinated they were,
Yeah.
because they had way more years into this than I did.
Yeah.
I'm like, did she just ask those questions?
Yeah. That's like my aunt coming to me, and she's, yeah, that would never happen.
Oh, I never,
Absolutely.
Nikki, never in a million, billion, zillion, gazillion, whatever years would I have ever thought that conversation would be had.
Yeah. Oh,
And
no.
that's why I say that, and it'll probably forever be my mind-blowing moment as an atheist, is the fuck? What the fuck? You know, but that's also why, and I'll wrap that up with this and say that's why it's important that we talk about it, because
Mhm.
people that we've never met, that we meet via the YouTubes or Facebook or Twitter, but it may be you and your bravery
Yeah.
and you having to stand up and say, no, fuck this shit. I don't have to believe, and I don't have to take your shit anymore.
Right. No, you don't.
To-
You
to-
really, really don't. And in America, especially, people need to realize that and feel more confident in saying that. You don't have to take the bullshit. You don't.
yeah, you don't. And what if we get to help others, especially family? Not saying
Mhm.
other people, but in our family. What if we are the spark plug, so to speak,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh shit, they don't believe.
And they're smart.
I'm on
And they
board.
know what they're doing. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, like these people. Yeah, because it's. I hope, and I did tell my brother and my uncle. I was like, I don't want you guys to become atheists because of me. They're like, we don't have to worry about that, and I'm like, well, good, but I don't want you. Because to me it would be weird if they were like, hey, we're not really, doing this anymore. I'd be like, am I in the
Is this real life?
am I dead? Am I in the Twilight Zone? Yeah. So but no, you're absolutely right. It's just very mind blowing, and I would love to have something like that happen in my family, but that would be.
You never know. Nikki, I'm telling you,
You really don't.
I'm not bullshitting. I never. Aunt Kathy, I'll say this: Aunt Kathy would have been one of the very, very last people that
Really?
I would have anticipated ever have that conversation with me. And
Oh yeah.
now,
I need to
not
talk to
only
Kathy, for
have a
sure.
show on our channel, but is active in helping us plan for our conferences.
What?
It's like,
What?
what?
I would love to. Oh, is
What?
she going to be at the conference?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yes. I want to meet Aunt Kathy. I want to meet her. She's so
And she
cool.
gives big anti hugs, just so you know.
Yay! That's awesome. That's awesome. Actually, I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. It's so fun when you go to the conferences. Like when I met Anthony Magnabosco in real life and met Matt Dillahunty in real life, I'm like, oh my gosh, these people are real. It's really cool. Met Penn Jillette, Lawrence Krauss. Like it's really cool to meet people in real life.
Oh,
Just love it.
absolutely. And it's memorable, and it's cool, and it's fun. And then there's the funny moments, where it's like, oh, I remember one person. I can't remember whether it was when I went to Faithless Forum or if it was at Better. I don't remember, but I'd met someone and we shook hands with, and they just looked at me and was like, "You're way scarier in real life."
Are you
And
like
I'm like,
tall or something? Or?
"No, I'm not. I'm like 5'10".
Okay. You're
I mean,
like, why are you scarier with
I'm broad. I got broad shoulders. Like I'm not scrawny by any means, but I was like, well, how do you want me to take that?
If I was a guy and someone said that to me, I would take it as a compliment. But as a girl, I would be like, oh, well, I don't really want to be seen as scary. But as a dude, it'd be like, yeah, I'm scary. What the hell?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I take not issue, but I get caught off guard by it because, well, and Jenna says this all the time. Like people have this perception of me based on, well, I do. I have resting asshole face. I do 100%. And people have this perception that I'm just this asshole, just complete dickhead. but but that confuses me because I know who I actually am, and I'm a big teddy bear. I love people and I love helping people. So when people have that perception, it fucks with me. I'm like
I understand.
that's not me.
No, that's not me. That's I understand. Well, I am really looking forward to getting to meet both of you. I'm looking forward to having Jenna on next week and hopefully connecting with Aunt Kathy to have her on down the road, hopefully in March. But I just want to thank you so much for coming on. I had so much fun.
No, thanks for having me, and I love these conversations, and
Oh, yeah.
it's always nice to uh, get outside the house, so to speak, like get
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
our channel, and go and talk with
Yeah.
people on their channels. I do. I appreciate it. And the only thing else that I'll say is go buy my album on iTunes.
Oh
Go buy.
yeah. Actually that's a perfect segue. Please let everyone know where to find you, what you do, the channel and the album. And I will also send that stuff to me so I can put it in the description as well.
Absolutely, we will. And I'm actually trying to get better at doing that because Jen is the one that always has to remind me, like, talk about your shit. Talk about your shit.
Oh, I'm
Um,
bad at it too. I'm bad
I'm
at
terrible. But as far as the YouTubes are concerned, you can find us at the Atheist Network Group or Tang, hashtag Tang Gang. We do a little bit of everything, and I know Jenna will have the links and everything in the chat. You can find us there. And then, yeah, I have an album. It's titled Devil's Night. If you Whether you do or don't enjoy hip hop, there's a couple tracks on there that are kind of transcend hip hop. There's some rock in there, but yeah, you can go download that or purchase it on iTunes. You can download or stream it on Apple Music, on Spotify, Amazon, wherever it is that you prefer to stream your music. I have a free 10-track cover compilation that's on SoundCloud. You can go there, underscore Ozzy, I believe is how you go there on SoundCloud. And that's
Wow.
free download. And then the first single from my upcoming album, Osmosis, just dropped last week.
Oh
It's
my God, what a dope name. Osmosis. What?
Yeah, I'm
Dope.
excited about that one. I'm excited because
Yes.
when you listen to Devil's Night was me just like this is who the fuck I am, and I'm saying
Yeah.
it, speaking it through music, right? This is my experience, who I am. But Osmosis, the energy goes way up, and I'm
Mm.
talking that shit. I'm talking that shit. So the first single dropped last week. You can find that on all those same platforms as well. And as soon as the album drops, I'll let everybody know.
Excellent. Please let us know. Let me know. I will promote it. And I will find, yeah, send it to me so I can find the album myself. I like to buy music and books of people that I care about and want to support. So, whatever you guys got going, let me know. And, excuse me, probably not professional with clear throat on camera, but
I've been having
thanks.
it all night.
I'm over COVID, but the residual effects, I guess. And the weather has been up and down in Georgia. It's just been all over the place. One day it was like there was a tornado warning. The next day it was snowing. It was very weird.
Georgia.
Mm. Devil went down to Georgia, literally turned it into hell. So like wow. But yes, thanks again so much for being on the show. Thank you everyone for watching. And thanks again to those who will come back and watch it later. I am Nikki with Beat the Cult. You can find me on Twitter at Beat the Cult. Instagram, I'm doing better with that. I probably just need to hire a social media person because I don't use it. TikTok, I'll probably be doing that more because I'll probably be moving more away from the debate style thing. I did a couple of debates and I'm not really loving it too much. But I do, with that being said, do have a debate on the Crucible Thursday against a gentleman named Chase. That should be interesting. And you can also find me on Patreon. I just started a Patreon as well. And I will be getting my store up and running here in a little bit, Beat the Cult store. I will also be on the Hang Up with Matt Dillahunty on Wednesday as well. And on the nonprofits and why is this escaping me right now? Truth, not Talk Heathen. Yes, I got a lot going on. So in the next
Good for you.
few weeks, yeah, I'm enjoying it. See, that's the fun part. Everything pretty much except for the debates. But yeah, keep an eye out next week for Jenna. Thanks so much, Jenna, for coming on. And I will see all of you later. Bye.